What's up, everyone? My name's Aya, and thank you for joining my channel, Wild Free and Tangle Fairy. I wanted to talk about my life and how I have overcome being scapegoated and campaigned against. You know, it's a lot. It has been a lot. Most of my life, I spent in under a lot of stress, like just trying to survive. It's hot. Trying to survive. I just am making myself look like I was cool with everything. Like the key to surviving a narcissist, when you finally realize who they are, what they are, and that you're never going to win. Like the whole thing about a narcissist is that they're going to win, and they're going to be in control, and so you have to make them feel that way. And so my game was always to, I can see the light in everyone. And narcissists love compliments. They love to feel like they have like little minions and stuff around them who praise them and make them feel good, because they don't take any responsibility for doing that for themselves. They don't feel like they can, because they don't feel like they're worth anything. They really only feel like what the outside world thinks about them is worth anything. They don't realize that they're doing it. They don't. Um, and they want your attention and validation all the time, but they also don't want you to feel good about yourself around them. And so my energetics were always being tampered with. If I came home on a high and happy because I had a good day or whatever, she will always say something to bring me down. I could walk in the room and say hi, and she'd be like, or then the next day I'd be like, oh, I guess you don't want me to say hi. It's like, don't walk past me, nothing. You won't walk past me in my own house and not tell me hi. It's like, girl, like what is the tea? What is it that you really want? So it just put my body in this like tight grip. And so I had to be kind of like ready for anything and nothing at the same time. It's just kind of like always on edge. Not good for the nervous system. Not at all. Not at all. And so by the time I was like 12, 13 years old, when I've told this story before, I wanted to bring my sewing machine from St. Louis to Orlando to Florida, and there wasn't enough room in the car, in the van or whatever we were driving. And I was like, I'll put it on my lap, because my godmother gave me that sewing machine, and my librarian taught me how to sew all school year long, to the point to where I made my own Easter dress that year. Like, I wanted to be a fashion designer. And I felt sabotaged, because they were like, nope, leave it. We left it in a new sewing machine in a basement, in a moldy basement in the hood. Like, I couldn't believe it. That was the beginning of my villain arc. Seriously. I stopped caring about life, about school. I became depressed, and I stopped talking. I stopped talking to them about anything. I didn't trust them anymore. I was like, oh, okay. They don't care about me, because they don't care about my future. They don't care about how I feel. They don't care about how I end up. Like, if I stay with them, I'm going to end up with nothing. And then the interesting thing about a narcissistic parents is that they don't see cause and effect. Okay. Or at least they act like they don't. Why are you depressed? Are you doing drugs? Like, they just kind of like pick at you. They take everything that means something away. And then now you're a loser. Okay. Because they don't want you to have anything that's going to make you rise above them and make them have to respect you, because they do respect power on the outside. Like, they respect money and title on the outside. They don't think that you just being alive and being a human, and having God within you is enough and worthy of respect. No, you have to earn everything. You have to work for everything, or else you ain't shit type. And it's like, no matter what, you ain't shit. It's like, you ain't shit. It's like, you ain't shit all the time. And so I never really bought into that. And my mom couldn't really get through. I'm looking at my clothes on the line, and they're kind of, the wind is getting kind of, and I always just kind of had an inner knowing, and I always just kind of like was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, with her. And she couldn't break me down and get me to let her in so that she could give me guidance and tell me who I am and make me to be a person that she wished that she was, or whatever, like this pimp, player, cheerleader, popular girl. Who gives a fuck about that? Like, I never really cared about this. And she also couldn't make me feel bad for not being that, because I just don't care. And so what she ended up doing was campaigning against me behind my back. My little sister, who's 12 years younger than me, told me that while we were all living together, I could have been in 9th grade, 10th grade, I don't know, Mom started telling her not to listen to me, and that I was crazy. Like, she groomed everyone that had a listening ear against me. Well, the first person I saw her do this to was my other little sister that's 3 years younger than me, telling her that because I was a singer and that I had, well, the spotlight was on me at certain points, at certain times, that I was taking the spotlight away from her, and that I was selfish and didn't want to be part of the family. And that, you know, because in narcissistic land, in the patriarchy in general, there's a scarcity of light. There's a scarcity of love. There's a scarcity of everything, right? And if one person has something, then that means somebody else is losing something. And in reality, that's not true. Like, everyone has their shine, their purpose, you know, their own energetics, their own connection to God, and it's endless and it's eternal. And it comes from within. So I was always like really confused by this mixed message, this how I feel on the inside, this connection that I feel with God, with spirit, which is so strong, right? So strong that when I sing at church, how the crowd responds and what they say to me afterwards, it's like, I'm healed when you sing. You heal me when you sing. I look forward to you singing on Sundays. You touch my heart. You help me purge my emotions. I can feel you. And it helps me feel like all this feedback, right? And then having this nefarious, diabolical energy at home. It just made me split on the inside. On one hand, I love to be on stage and I felt most at home and safe there. On the other hand, when I got off stage, I felt like I had done something wrong because I would always get belittled and reprimanded afterwards. Classic mental abuse. And so as I got older, the campaigning would go up in notches. Like, she would talk to anyone who would listen, people at church, and how I took it as people, my friends at school, if I brought them around, all of a sudden we would be cool, and then I turn around the next day, try to talk to them, and it would be like not talking to me, and I'm like, oh, they must have spoke to my mom. I would I would never know what she said. It was like she would build like this secret bond with people, and eventually I stopped caring, because I'm like, if you are that gullible, and this is what you want to do, you were never really my friend. Let's stop. B, you wanted to join this brigade, whatever it is, against me. You were probably already jealous and looking for something. Go ahead and go. No, really, just go ahead and go. I don't care. Eventually it got like that. So I just became just kind of cold. Like, cause if as fast as she can turn them, as fast as I can cut them all off. And this is all throughout the years in my life. Even when I went no contact in my late 20s, when I finally started to feel with and deal with all of this stuck energy inside of me, and just kind of how I became cold, and I never cried even. I was like, nothing could get to me or hurt my feelings. I'm like, and just very disassociated, damn near schizophrenic, so many defense mechanisms to try to cope. Very triggered, couldn't really be by myself, couldn't really sit with my own energies, scared to death to be alone, very codependent, always in a relationship, always around people. I took the steps when I looked at my life and I saw that I wasn't who I wanted to be, and what I said I wanted to do, I would do something else, the exact opposite, or just I was not living a life that lived up to what I would call what my inner child wanted to be. I'm like, where am I going? Who is this woman I'm turning into? I don't know her, So I decided to take responsibility and take life into my life back, basically into my own hands. And I started to face all of my feelings through journaling, and I also had like a drawing notebook, because a lot of the feelings I had were so primitive. They didn't have any words, so I would draw scenes out. Things would come out and on that page that I'm like, well, did I go through this? And so I started asking like my family members questions, like my aunties or whatever. I'm like, I'm drawing this picture of blood and glass and it looks violent. And they're like, oh yeah, girl, that's when your daddy had crashed out when your mom called when she went to the army and said she was never coming back. He had a psychotic break. And I was like, oh my God. And he tried and he called us threatening to kill you, me and my sister, put y'all in the bathtub, had a machete in his hands, and he said he was hearing voices saying he's going to kill you. Like all these things, okay? Okay. All this stress I had to feel through and relieve myself of in my body and cry, purge. I mean, cry, sobbing, wailing for like every day, a year straight, to the point to where everybody in my circle, and at that time I had a lot of people around me. I did. Thought I was crazy and that I wasn't going to make it. When some of my old friends see me now or have seen me grow through the years, they're always surprised. They be like, I didn't think you was going to make it, girl. And I'm like, I understand why. But I always knew when I started this journey of healing that I would. As soon as I made the decision, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this, but I know I got to. For me, like, this is what I want. And at that time when I started healing, I was like 28, 29, 30. And I knew I had a decision to make. I'm like either about to get married, because I was engaged around that time. I'm either about to get married and have children, or I'm going to focus completely. I'm going to go ahead, because this is going to take a while. And this is going to take up all of my time and energy. And I'm not going to half-ass it. And I'm not letting anybody stand in my way, because a lot of people would be like, how could you say that about your mother? That's your mom. How could you go no contact? Because this was before it was popular, like 15 years ago, right? How could you say this about your mother, about your mom, about this and about... And I'm like, I'll cut those people off, because I'm like, y'all, listen, this is my journey. This is what I got to do. This is how I got to feel. Yeah. We know. We love mother and them. But I have to be real about how everything has made me feel. So this is why in my alchemical processing with people and trauma healing sessions, I let people be a victim for a little bit, because that's a stage of development. If you've been through all of this trauma and abuse, because there's lots of things I'm not telling y'all, because there's just no freaking need. There's physical violence here. There's emotional incest from my stepfather that he tried to turn into sexual assault, but I would not allow it. Okay. There's my mom choosing him over me after he tries to profess his love for me and like kiss me and you know, getting in the middle of having me in the middle of their BS, you know, and just kind of making me a surrogate mother to her children against my will. Everybody just taking my energy for granted and using my energy how they wanted to use it and taking away from me my empowerment, and what I want and see for myself didn't ever matter. And when I decided that I was going to matter, casting spells on me, campaigning against me, and it's just like my whole, not just my family, it's like my whole karmic past circle. And it's all for a reason. It's all for my growth and my betterment, and me not being in this world, being in this world but not of this world. You know, I don't have any attachments, and I don't have anything to stop me from ascending and being within the arms of the great I am, and knowing God very closely. They pushed me towards a really deep mystic life and relationship with the divine. Because there was no place for me to go. So I thank them for that. They gave me the alchemical fire of a really base energy to transmute and work with, because you got to have, in order to alchemize energy, you got to have power, right? The power you exert, or that is needed, depends on how low the level, the base metal is, and then you're always trying to get to the very, very top. So it's been an interesting journey. They wanted me to go crazy and to react to them a certain way. They wanted to get a rise out of me, but they did, but just not in the way that they wanted. They wanted to exert their power and see, you know how I've heard men say that they like having sex with different women because they like to see how women respond to their dick or whatever. They wanted me to respond to their dick. They wanted to hear me piss, moan, and complain and try to get them back and like get online and speak out against them, and then they speak out against me. They wanted me to fight a non victorious battle, because whenever you war against someone, that's never going to bring peace. It's not going to bring like criticism, and then more criticism doesn't create a solution. The solution really is to turn the other cheek and not pay attention, because there's really nothing happening there. There's nothing that anyone said, and with their partial truths, that is my whole being. If God didn't do it, it did it. Did it? Like, seriously. I survived by finding security within God. I survived by learning to enjoy my own company, doing the things that I love, and getting to the point to where it actually became enjoyable. I survived by loving and dating myself, doing the things that I want to do, spending money on things that enrich me. Like, I would take dance therapy classes and Tai Chi classes, and I learned to stop spending money on going out to eat and then saying I ain't got no money to do what I want to do. You know, I started to become wise in my life and who I had around me. And I learned to look at the signs and the symbols of energies and listen to my intuition and trust it. And I stopped putting myself in situations that were disadvantageous to me, even if it meant I had to be alone. I learned that being by myself is like the best thing in the world. The solitude began to hug me like a stuffy, I began to enjoy traveling by myself, seeing the world. I began to enjoy exploring my inner world, talking to gods and goddesses, learning about my spiritual gifts, and then offering them to other people. When people started asking me, I said, okay. I became up for life in a different way. And they put me on that path. So I really want to thank them. I do. I also would like to thank my ex-fiance and like everyone that thought that they could like use me however they wanted to. I'm an escape artist. I always leave, and I always leave better than what people leave me or what they intended for me. And it always makes narcissists so angry because their goal is to destroy you and leave you with nothing. And that's the way they feel like they won something. While they get a chance to play the victim, now I'm the villain. That's the only role now that they want to. They're like, she abandoned us. Again, they have no concept of cause and effect. They don't tell themselves why. Why did she abandon you? Like why is a girl not talking to her mother for almost 15 years? They don't want to answer those types of questions. And so they keep moving the goalpost, and it's always my fault regardless, and it's just going to be that way. And now I love it. And if they knew that their hate and campaigning and scapegoating was going to make me better and stronger, more wealthy, more interesting, ooh, eat the mic then, okay? More artistic, more creative, more beautiful, more sound, more healthy, more wealthy, more aware, smarter, more critical thinking, more well-read, well-studied. Maybe they would have been kinder, more supportive. Maybe that would have held me back and kept me submissive or whatever. If they would have not been so cruel and thinking that they're just so smart. And this is the season of the devil figuring out that it's not so smart. Maybe you're not that smart. In this season, as I grow in strength and the Agent J's approach me, the demons have approached me, entities that are supposedly following me around the world, anytime I share my voice, I'm seeing the weakness and the frailty and the desperation in these entities. It's not scary. It's sad. They're losing strength and losing power in the bodies that y'all jump into. It's giving crackhead and homeless. It's like, why are y'all using these poor people? Like, it's not giving wizard anymore. It's like you're losing your last strength to just kind of like harass me a little bit. And then it fizzles out. Because you can't just stop and surrender to God. Surrender to love. Surrender to the change. Whatever pain and suffering that you meant for me, now you have to feel it. Because I already went through that process. I suffered. deeply and felt the pain, the rage, felt alone, sleepless nights, nightmares, like these energetic splittings. I would see part of myself over here, part of myself over there. Like I was literally losing my mind, especially at the beginning of my healing process. So when people come to me, I really do have so much compassion and understanding. I'm about to cry now. I'm passionate about helping people alchemize their energy because I know what it's like to know that you're supposed to be flying high and being an amazing guide and love being in the earth, but being around certain entities and people, demons, and being enslaved and being groomed to be taken advantage of turns you into something else that when you look in the mirror, you can't even recognize yourself, and you look at your life and you're like, whose life is this? What is happening? You just want to get out of here. I understand. I faced the underworld and made friends. Some of my goons, my friends, are demons. I'm well connected in the ancestor realm, and the gods and goddesses love me as well. And I've earned my place and fought and struggled spiritually, which is a spiritual concept. Spiritually, people don't realize that it's kind of like lifting weights every day. And this is why I be on y'all about your spiritual practice, and why I be talking to you about joining my Patreon and YouTube membership, because that's what it's all about. If you don't have a spiritual practice that turns into your lifestyle, where you surround yourself only with light, and you get comfortable with that, because you're going to agitate your demons. It is uncomfortable at first when you're used to gossip and drama and love bombing and just like dopamine highs and masturbating and escaping and drinking and smoking and stuffing away, putting away your feelings, disassociation, all these defense mechanisms, maladaptive daydreaming, feeling sad and wallowing in depression, staying away from feeling, basically, feeling lost and alone and helpless, being a victim. Like, you can become addicted and attached to these lower level entities and the voice that it carries. You have to come up out of that. And you have to go slow at your own pace, and you are going to titrate back and forth between doing a good job at your spiritual practice, your meditation and journaling and your affirmations, and then going back to what's more comfortable for you sometimes, but learning to be compassionate with yourself through the process. When you give up the image of being spiritual, and being like, yeah, I know this and I read this and I know that, and making this your identity, or I'm healing, or I'm a healer, your identity, and you just come down to earth with it and be like, this is real. And sometimes, because this is the place I always try to get the people I work with to, like, let's cut the bullshit. I'm reading your energy, and you haven't been meditating. You meditated once this week, right? But you don't want me to look down on you because of it. I don't. I honestly don't care. But this process is for you and your connection with life. The more real you are, the better. It's not about how I view you. Who cares about what I think? And if I'm going to be like that, don't show up and pay me I wouldn't pay somebody that made me feel like crap because of where I'm at. Please. Yet I'm also going to hold you accountable in a sense to where we're going to, like, okay, so What's been going on that's been kind of keeping you away? Or is there another modality, another way of meditation that might work out better for you? Like, you have to figure out who you are, where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, what works for you and what doesn't work for you when you're real, when you're honest. But if you're play pretending spirituality so that you can fit in with whoever it is you're talking to at the time, you try to fit in over here, and be able to kick it over here, and you also want to be able to kick it over there. It's human nature, to want to just be liked. When you give that up, because it's really about you liking you, and understand that this is an alchemical process, and this is your real life here. And the only way to really connect to divinity, to your true source, to love, is to match frequency. And you can't lie to spirit. That's why the Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them. Right? And so that's honestly the main thing, is like being real, being authentic. The spirit realm responds very well to vulnerability, passion, like you connect, like connection. The spirit realm loves a good like connection. They're like, yes, they love a good expression. Any way that you can get into the true energies of what's actually going on inside of you, perfect. This what the spirit realm, what God sees as perfect, is just his life force energy that he's given to everything. That's why God is perfect. God, your perfection have nothing to do with the outside realm. The outside realm is a mess. What makes us perfect is God within us. Like, God living through us is always perfect. And alchemy is always coming back to that. And the ego can't stand that, because the ego makes you feel like you have to do something in order to be perfect. But God says, my grace is sufficient. You don't have to do anything. Do nothing, actually, and receive everything, because you are everything already. And as you keep going back to that understanding and knowing that I am, that label of scapegoat, that campaigning against you, the gates of hell will not prevail against the gates of heaven. Period. I absolutely love the game. And that's how you become like a fairy demon angel. Because the demons start to become scared of you. Anyway, and and you start to understand that, okay, a challenge is fun. There's going to be challenges. I'm going to have to dig deep into my meditation this week or whatever. Like, okay, so I've stepped off my path and I started thinking negatively, and that allowed, because where I'm at right now, any entry point that they can get to attack me, they take it. And it's so annoying. It's so hard sometimes, because I'm like, dang. And it'd be my fault. And that's how you win, quote unquote. When you take responsibility, it's like, I could get on here, complain, people are casting spells on me. But it's just kind of like, I know that, I started getting lazy, and I basically gave them the window. And now this extra work that I have to do, it's on me, when I could just maintain, sustain, and it's still all in all makes me stronger at the end of the day. So I still thank you. And I thank you thank you for when I don't know. You never turn away, you're right there. And I think, and that's God. God promises to never leave us nor forsake us. And holding on to God's promises in this way will always help you just kind of keep turning the other cheek. You don't want to join in and fight back. This isn't Harry Potter around here. I don't cast no spells and, actually just focusing on the potent energy of the great I am is enough. It's enough. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I felt inspired to share in this way and give it this certain title like this. And go to my website. I have new things going on and happening there that I'm excited about, like my weekly synopsis reading. You have 3 groups, and it'll tell you what modalities that I offer could possibly work for you depending upon the reading. Or you can just contact me and I'll email you back. We can exchange numbers on WhatsApp. You can join the Patreon group and receive all the free workbook downloads on the YouTube channel membership. You'll have an opportunity to get the videos that I send out with the modalities of healing and the workshops and the teachings and things that I do about trauma healing, the alchemy. We're all about alchemy here. You would become a fairy alchemist. I have 4 different tiers there. I haven't written a description for all. I'm working everything out. I'm a 1-woman band, and everything is time consuming. When you see people and their websites and their products, their pictures, their Instagram, when you don't do these things, you can take them for granted with all the work that people do. Everything needs a description that comes from me sitting and re-editing and thinking things through, like how can I get across to people what this is about so that they will be interested in it. Listening to spirit, making videos, just trying to stay in alignment. I have clients in the background too that I'm working with. The message that spirit has given me to share, the services they've gifted me to be able to give back to the community, they all have to be seen. I have to show up. My energy has to be great. That's why I didn't post nothing yesterday, because I was tired. I stayed up all night working through my energies that were trying to be healed. I'm always still growing and still purging, still learning. And I love that, because there was a time where I felt bored at the level I had gotten to. I'm like, I've mastered a certain level. Now what's next? And I'm definitely in the season that I want to be in, where I'm at the cutting edge of my heart. And I'm excited about the work. I'm excited about the new ways that the goddess is channeling through me. It's just a lot going on. So please bear with me if things aren't perfect in the physical realm. Just know that God is perfect in all things. God is perfect. God's love, God's energy. Everything is going to be done, but never complete. I don't want things to be complete as far as like the things I have to do. I'm never going to get it all done. And it's never going to be all the way perfected, or else I will not have anything to do and this life will be boring for me. Okay? And so I love you. You guys inspire me. You guys are the reason why I do what I do and why I am who I am. I came here into this plane to develop myself in a certain way, to look how I look, speak how I speak, and be exactly who I am the way that I am to talk to you at this time right now. Peace.